Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
This is the last show before Christmas, so
It is.
90-minute show?
Yeah, we're going to try a 90-minute format. I think next week we'll try a 60-minute format. Are we going to be able... Yeah, next week will be the 27th. There's something weird about that. Yeah, okay.
I saw the questions. They looked like really good questions. We should try to hammer them out.
Like a lightning round, as they say?
Maybe. No, we never actually do it, but maybe.
That'd be so funny.
Do you have any mail notes this week?
No, but this was like maybe my biggest week of purchases, and I don't know how long it's going to take to get all of them, but a big week of purchases. Acquisition day.
Nice. Scan showing day. Christina has a pickup.
I do. You ready?
Yep. Oh my gosh, you guys did it.
Oh, it's upside down.
Oh, that's this year's basketball?
Yeah, this is your basketball.
No, that's not this year.
No, this is the year of basketball. It's the 2020 Prism Fast Break. I am now searching for the out of 5 Kleba.
The desperation has increased.
The desperation has reached a new high.
So that's not hobby. That's just the fast break box. How
Right.
many how many packs are in there? Like 24 card packs or something?
It's 18 packs in a box, 5 cards in each pack.
Okay, so just so you know, the normal hobby box is 12 packs and 12 cards each, something like that. Like they're these nice fat premium packs,
Yeah.
and these are like little baby 5-card packs.
I mean, we could rip it right
You
now
get-
if you want.
I think you should actually, but only tell us if you get something cool. You get 1 autograph and 12 parallels.
Who wants me to rip it?
I'm setting this up because I want to ask Josh. Josh, so this is the LaMelo and Edwards class. What do you think, not the hobby box, this fast break box costs?
Well, I was going to make a joke about how it's like the worst year of rookies in the last 10 years, but it's not very nice to the Edwards fans. Let me think. I'm going to be I feel like no matter what I say, you're just going to laugh.
I love questions like that where I just get
So
to
it's
laugh
like
no
the
matter what.
official fast break. It's not some like retail thing, right?
Correct.
Like $600.
How much was it? Oh, you're flying through these. You have to give me a pack too. How much was it, Christina?
This one was more expensive. This one was $800.
$800, and this is the quality control you get.
Where's
The border is missing.
Is Chrissy Buckets in the chat? Here, you want a pack?
Yeah, I did.
Because I was trying to think like it's more expensive than football, but it's fast break and it's like an older class. So maybe the demand has gone down over time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Here, is South around?
All this just to
try to hit neon green out of 5
To
of a
not
bench player.
hit the max. See?
So, but wax goes up in value forever, right?
Until it doesn't.
Yeah, the answer is no.
Are there any card ladder related updates that we should share?
No.
No. Okay. While Christina opens the rest of that box. Oh, Halburn's part of that class too. While
Okay.
Christina opens the rest of that box, let's get some questions. The first one comes in from, what are we doing here?
Also, the best Celtics.
The best Celtic, Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah.
Nice.
$6
What are
a
we-
year.
Would like to know, when are we posting the card trees?
On
So we already discussed this.
Christmas Day.
It was like
Christmas
Christmas Eve was the only one that we were like, okay, you can get away with it.
Right. Someone tagged me in a story, and they're like, "How did I do?" And I was like, "It's tree shaped, but you're a little early."
That's what I said too. I said you're a little early, and he said this is just a dress rehearsal.
What about annual recaps? Does that have to be New Year's Eve?
Yeah, it should be either New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. Should be like a year in review.
I think that's a good rule, and I think everybody else should follow it, but mine may come out a few days before that.
I was laughing at the Spotify execs in the boardroom, like, let's release this thing in December and cut out 8% of the years of people. What if you dedicated all of December to one thing and would have taken the lead, but we will never know.
Yeah, like I dedicate all of February to December through December to Christmas music. That's really gonna affect my numbers.
Right.
Next question from Ankesh, AA Collectibles 01. You've been routinely doing the crossover for years now, even with recent load management considered. Interviewers don't start off by asking Kawhi questions like this. Can I just say that? You obviously enjoy spending your Friday nights with us. But more specifically, can you please individually speak on what value does it bring you? Qualitatively, what brings you back each Friday?
I mean, that's assuming a lot that we enjoy this.
Yeah, that's a massive assumption.
I don't know. We just like talking cards.
Yeah, and I don't think we're just going to keep coming back.
Yeah.
This might be the last show for what if we just took a year off?
Or this is just like a big, 5-year build up to a shill job for some service we're going to start offering.
And then just like an NFT drops.
This is the last pack.
Did you see that Haktua girl dropped an altcoin or whatever, and then she rug pulled everybody and stole the money?
Yes, that was not great.
Yeah, but expected.
Well, let's just do a really, really, really quick recap here. Did you get anything good?
No.
She's not yelling, so I don't think she pulled the...
We got an off-centered Ant-Man Prism base.
Oh, nice.
A pretty nicely centered Halliburton base. That's it.
So you can get a base? That's not bad, right?
Yeah, so this is the ratio of value that I've come to expect from boxes. Is we got about $40 worth of cards, maybe 50
from $800. Are you serious?
Yep.
Dude,
every hour I worked this week just got lit on fire.
Don't worry, guys. I have another box coming on its way for me to open.
How much do you think that Edwards base is worth?
Raw, maybe like $30.
You wish. $15.
Okay, so maybe we only got like $30 worth of stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Are we gonna get into that tonight? Do you have that question? What's going on with prison football? And it's only we only care because, or I only care because I care, I just happen to see it.
Yep. Okay, so to give a little more thought, since we just bought ourselves a bunch of time on Ankesh's question, I'm going to say one of the things that keeps me coming back is I just like to hear people's topics, questions, and grievances. I learn a lot from them.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Ankesh. We're working up to a better response. We just had to buy ourselves some time. What do you say, Josh? Is there anything that you... is there any redeeming quality to doing this show?
Oh, we're still on that. That was your answer? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good answer. I feel like we learn a lot from the chat. There's things that I didn't know people were so upset / passionate about that kind of is good for me to be aware of. Whenever we talk about wax and distributors and that kind of thing, I feel like I learned a decent bit that's outside my purview, which is good.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is our profession. We're professionals. I take this serious.
Yeah, exactly right. The not so hidden secret of the show is that the chat and the questions do all the lifting.
Yeah, we just I didn't get ready until 3 minutes before, and I walked in here, cracked my water, and
Right.
fired up the phone.
Exactly. Okay. Next up, we have from Bron Reeves PC. Please discuss the NBA ratings. And from MJ23 KB24 Cards, not all teams are boring to watch in the NBA. Is the problem with the NBA that 3-point shots are going up, or is it that players are not giving it their all every night? If you ask me, it's players not competing as hard as they can every single night. I'd be willing to bet if you made NBA contracts not guaranteed, we would get an incredible brand of basketball. And per Chris, if 3-point shots were boring to watch, why has Caitlin Clark brought in so much audience for the WNBA and Steph Curry for the NBA? All of a sudden, the three became boring. And so then just those are the two questions. And I'll just add one more thing. I actually wanted to quantify how much the ratings actually are down so that we have some facts to work from. This is according to Sports Media Watch. Through Saturday, which was 5 or 6 days ago, NBA games were averaging 1.4 million viewers across ABC, ESPN, and TNT, which is down 19% from last year. And then there was another source that I read a few days ago that I couldn't find, but that source said that almost all of the lost viewers is happening on ESPN.
Yeah.
So TNT is down 2 or 3%. It's ESPN that's down big, and that's the particular network that's suffering the most on the ratings. So go for it.
Well, I just wanted to say or ask if you had any of the data on the NFL, because I was going to make a comment about aren't all cable TV ratings going down with people moving to streaming and League Pass and TikTok and stuff?
Yeah, so this article that I was looking at did indeed have some commentary about the NFL. For example, the NFL is down only 4% since 2012. And otherwise, they just say that even a few years ago, the NFL was having a ratings downswing, but it's thriving according to them right now.
Yeah, because we always joke that the NFL is the only live TV, network TV that anyone watches anyways. Because the late night shows are way down in the ratings across the board. A lot of stuff is down on TV ratings.
Let me give you a few more stats really quick too, Josh.
Okay.
Men's college basketball this year compared to last year, down 21%.
Yeah.
Women's college basketball, how far down do you think that is so far this year?
Oh, from no Caitlin Clark?
Yeah.
Well, it probably did a middle finger, so it probably went up 100 and then down 100 or something like that.
Yeah, it's down 38% this year compared to last year, which, okay, that makes
but
sense.
Over 2 years, it's probably up a little bit because they probably had a big jump and then...
Yes. NHL is down 28%, and then we have an NFL-affiliated commenter in the chat who I'll just read what he said. Says, for 2023, 93 of the top 100 rated TV shows were NFL games. All others combined, 0. Thank you, sir, for that. You know who you are. So, okay, NFL is doing well. I don't think there's anything nice we can say about the NBA compared to the NFL. But, NHL is down even more. Men's college basketball, women's college basketball. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, my first comment is what is the negative outcome that this is causing monetarily for anybody? The revenue of the NBA is up, the teams are worth more, the players are making more money, the TV deals went up. What part of this is am I supposed to be upset about, where it's we're doomed because nobody's making any money?
Yeah, well, one of the points that this article from Sports Media Watch makes is that here, this is what they say. For the NBA, which is in the final season before a new 11-year media rights deal worth $77 billion kicks in, ratings may matter less now than at any point in league history.
Right. And Bill Simmons quoted a stat where if the Celtics go all 4 rounds in the playoffs, the team makes an extra $100 million.
Yeah.
So the teams are just still raking in the money through merchandise, food, tickets to the stadiums. They're making money through League Pass, streaming, ads on YouTube. There's all these different revenue streams.
Yeah. And okay, so that's the portion of this is saying like how bad is really bad, and the percentage is significant, but it's concentrated kind of to one network, and the NBA just did a big deal, so like not really a sky is falling thing.
Can I do one more and then I'll let you go for a while because I'm taking over?
No, go.
The last one is it kind of feels to me like the thing that's going down, and I'm glad this keeps coming up in the chat. The thing that is actually going down is like ESPN, like you said, and that's Stephen A. Smith, Kendrick Perkins, the terrible, terrible sports media we have, and it's going to podcasts, just like we saw with the election, where people are going to podcasts for their content instead of, the classic legacy media. And ESPN is basically legacy media for sports now. And like I know you personally listen to Nuggets podcast, Mavs podcast. You're not going to freaking Stephen A. Smith for your content. So it might be a lot of that too.
Oh yeah, I think that's a really good point. All right, so here's I think that like puts a nice bow on the question of how much should people be worried that the sky is falling with respect to the NBA. The next part of the conversation is figuring out why the sky might be falling. I think you just gave an example that I haven't heard anybody give yet, which is like maybe people just are consuming less NBA through the mainstream channels, as we're seeing in lots of other areas too. When I watch, let's say the Mavs, I watch a Mavs game and they lose by 20 to the Hornets or something. And then afterwards, every fan of the Mavs with an agenda will use that loss to prove their agenda. So the Kyrie fans will say, Kyrie didn't get the ball enough. Fat boy's a ball hog. The Luka fans, like myself, will say Jason Kidd can't coach. He made all the mistakes.
Yeah.
Fans of the roster or fans of Nico or the organization will maybe be like, well, if we just had our 11th man and he played 3 minutes, then we would have won the game, So this is what's happening, but except instead of looking at a game that we lost by 20 points, we're all, those of us who have like sort of biases, some more than others, are using the 20 percentage point dip to prove our agendas once and for all. And so, for example, if I were to ask you, what do you think Shaquille O'Neal thinks is the problem with the NBA because the ratings are down?
Not enough centers dunking.
Yeah, too many threes. The way that the Shaquille O'Neal, the lack of playing like Shaq is the reason why the ratings are down.
That's a great point.
So it's really, really hard to make heads or tails out of why the ratings are down. Or you have Bill Simmons who's like, the ratings are down because we just haven't promoted the American stars enough. And everybody's agenda is right when things are going poorly. So I don't know that we'll ever get to the bottom of it. The one that I did want, well, there's two that I want to debunk. I want to debunk the too many threes one, and Caitlin Clark is how I debunk that. If people didn't like watching players shoot threes, they wouldn't be flocking to watch Caitlin Clark, who attempted the most threes of any WNBA player last year. So I don't think it's the threes that are the problem. And then if the problem is that we have too many international players, I don't know, So Bill Simmons will say, look, Hakeem Olajuwon just didn't resonate with anybody in the NBA. Therefore, international players can't resonate. Right.
I don't understand.
And the only thing I say to that is Hakeem didn't resonate as much as Michael Jordan did in the 90s, but he resonated damn near as much as anybody else from the 90s did. Maybe a little bit less than Shaq, maybe a little bit more than Barkley. Hakeem was my favorite player during the 90s, so take that for what it's worth. So I don't know. I just we're able to look at this and it's like a Rorschach test. We see in it what we see is the reason is as much a reflection of our own biases usually as it is of anything else. So all right, enough about that for me.
I do not understand the I need an American player so that I can relate or something. Is that the argument? Like I need to relate with this American guy, or what's the thought there?
I guess. I don't know.
I can't relate to Shaq. He's 7'3" and he weighs 300 pounds. Like I can't relate to any of these guys. That was always the Steph Curry argument was like, he's short. I can kind of relate. I can shoot threes or whatever. But there's a lot of international players that you can relate to size-wise or otherwise. I don't understand. These guys all speak English and like live in America now full time. They're all they're all NBA guys. What does it matter?
Well, when I was like giving you my rebuttals to Bill crapping on Hakeem, you were like, yeah, and also like, wasn't Michael Jordan just the best player that era? So it makes sense that everybody lined up behind him and liked him the most. And it's like, yeah, like that's just sort of how things go. Is that we want to end up sort of lining up behind the best players of an era, and maybe it's just that simple. Is here's my bias. Maybe we're promoting the players who are like the 7th best players in the league, and people turn on and they're like, this guy isn't that good.
He keeps doing this thing where he's like, Jokic is my favorite player to watch. He like had a whole episode dedicated to Jokic. He thinks Jokic is the best player in the league, right? But he always has this undertone of like, but he can't be the face of the league because he's international. And in my head, I'm like, why don't you just say like the reason he's not that is because you keep saying he's not. Just say he is the best and just move on. Like, what you're the one making it this big deal. The more that everyone talks about this topic and the ratings down, the threes, you guys are making it a topic. It's like the revenue's up. What does it even matter?
Right. Yeah, no, it's so true. And Bill is doing a very sneaky but smart move, which is he's claiming Jokic as his guy so that he can protect Larry Bird. So he takes Jokic and he's like, I will be the flag bearer of Jokic, but then he always makes sure that Jokic will be beneath Larry Bird when it's all said and done. So that he's really protecting the threat to Larry Bird.
I mean, I see what he's doing. Shaq does, like Shaq, like when Jokic won his MVP last year, it was like, oh, Shea should have won, like, and I'll say that to Jokic's face, and it's like, bud, you're just jealous because you couldn't get to Jokic's level.
Fair enough. I love this from Oncash. Did you see it, Oncash? That?
Yeah.
Oncash, Bill Simmons is just an anomaly, an enigma. He's comforting to listen to. He's very easy to listen to. And he'll say things that are interesting. But maybe his greatest piece of work is putting out things that make people like us want to talk about it and reply to him.
Yeah.
What about Eddie here, who says, what about the players not trying hard in load management, which was sort of the essence of his observation?
Yeah, well, I can answer that one. It's because we, as a society and the media and just everyone watching these games, put so much emphasis on the championship. And like your legacy is trash unless you win the championship. So these guys are taking that as like, okay, so I need to maximize everything to win these championships. Therefore, I need to be fully healthy in the playoffs. I take it as that. Like we want it both ways. We want to play every game and then be healthy in the playoffs and like have them all maximized in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think it's a good point. I think that's a problem that a lot of people have with today's NBA. A lot of people, end up having that situation where they buy tickets and then the player that they want to go see is ruled out 3 hours before the game. We went to the Minnesota Card Show and then we wanted to watch McCaffrey. We've never watched Christian McCaffrey play. We wanted to watch him when the 49ers were visiting the Vikings, and he was ruled out of that game after we already had arrived in Minnesota, which was unfortunate too. Which leads me to the observation that football has guys missing all types of time, star players. So I don't know that star players missing time. Maybe it matters more in basketball because it's a more star-driven league, and the NFL is more of a team-driven league. But
maybe the NBA needs to be like more gamified for the average viewer, like fantasy football provides to its viewers.
That would be massive if they could figure out a way to do that.
That would be
also
massive.
Like Josh had said before about the commentators need to step up in basketball.
Totally.
That like you see football commentators are stepping up, and we don't have that. We have fucking Doris Burke and like calling every single fucking finals game.
Rant complete.
I have one criticism that the NBA keeps leaning into that's annoying me, and it's this fucking political thing. Like, I don't care if you pick one side of the politics or another. That's not the problem. It's just like I am watching sports because I don't want to watch politics, and they keep like Popovich went on some rant, and they keep trying to like pull it into the games and stuff. It's like, don't care. Just play. I want to watch basketball. Some of us still like watching these games.
Yeah.
Please let us watch the games.
Yep, I hear you. Okay, so Stiff in the chat says basketball plays too many games. And then there's been a lot of suggestions too about like moving the 3-point line, or Stiff also threw in there making the dunk worth 3 points. This is why this topic concerns me slightly, is because I love the NBA. I watch 20 hours of it a week, probably, give or take. Don't take games away from me. Don't change the game that I like.
Records.
If you guys want to change something, you can put more games. I'll watch more games.
Records are screwed too.
Yeah, right? Yeah, just
don't. I have a take on the 3-point line. Do you remember the play where Ray Allen made that 3 in the finals?
Yep, game 6, I think it was.
Do you remember where his feet were in relation to out of bounds and like the situation? Do you remember the situation?
Yeah, it was a scramble, outlet rebound to him in the corner, and he must have been just tiptoeing in that corner.
Imagine if we extend the 3-point line and these guys have this much space. It's like people aren't thinking, so the other one I heard is like eliminate the corner 3 and have the 3-point line like end before you get to the corner 3. I don't really like any of those, to be honest. And then Bills was like, you can only make a certain number of 3s before you can't take any more or something like that.
You have like a limit of 3. I didn't even listen to that podcast. Yeah. I just knew.
Yeah, that was one of them.
I just knew. All right. Don't change. Just don't fix what isn't broken. All right.
They just got the biggest TV deal ever. Guys are making $50-60 million a year. The Suns sold for a record $6 billion or whatever. What is bad? I just don't understand what's bad.
Stiff says no more fouls.
Yeah. I heard one time someone had a rule that was in for football. They're like, just take away the field goal posts. And I thought about it. Like that'd be a kind of a cool rule.
But then how would we get fair catch free kicks?
That was the top story in ESPN.
God, yeah. There was a pocket of nerds, like historical football nerds, who were just so happy that happened. Like first time in 50 years.
I had to like look up what the heck it even was. Like it's like a drop kick? No, it's just a untimed down free kick.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that. And then Sean Payton said, "Yeah, we practiced that." Yeah, sure.
Those football coach nerds love saying it. We practiced that scenario in the last once every 50 years.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Okay. Next question here. Oh, this is good. I wanted to like warm us up into this, Josh.
Good.
From what are we doing here? Can you please have Josh expand on his story posts from the other day, which were very popular?
So from the perspective of the wax being overpriced, or people that are collectors getting priced out from developers?
Those are two great topics. I think we do both separately.
Yeah. The wax one is interesting because I like genuinely was excited about Prism Football because obviously I've been jumping into the football world and it's fun, and who doesn't want to rip a box of something that you're interested in at the moment? It's just like it's a way to enhance what you've already been going after, and you're not going to hit anything for your collection, but it's kind of a fun thing to do. And they were $1,000 for a box, and I know that these cards are, you're not going to get $1,000 unless you hit something crazy. It just seemed really prohibitive for anyone, and like you and I are, people in our middle age, we should be able to afford something. If we aren't able to afford this, how are kids or the average person, how are they supposed to afford a box like this? You just can't. So it's really marketed. It just kind of all hit me, like everyone that complains about it. It makes sense to me now because it's like this is completely marketed towards gambling, breaking, and repacks, and there's just no way around that.
Yeah. So can I just pause? Let me just pause for 1 second.
No, go ahead.
I just want to set the stage for something here. All right. You are a highest end LeBron James collector with exquisites, rookie year, Topps Chrome Golds, rookie year, finest golds. And you are looking at the situation and saying these boxes are too damn high. If they're too high to you and I, and granted, there's much bigger fish than myself, but if we feel like it's too high, who the heck, who's going to look at this stuff and say, yeah, I'd like to start a collection here by opening a $1,000 box?
It's not a collection of. That's kind of the point. That's like what made me circle back and think about that sort of mindset for buying singles for your collection. It's like, who is this geared towards? And it's all just seems to be repackers, breakers, flippers, and that's what these companies are just kind of leaning into at this point. They're like, well, this is where our revenue is coming from. Let's just market to it.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. Like, you and I are trying to bid on cards. We're bidding against people whose goal is to win that item and then immediately sell it to us, or like not specifically us, but the person that's like us that wants to buy it. It's just strange.
Let me ask you this. At a price point of $1,000 per Prism Hobby Box, is it possible to have fun opening that box?
Not it's just so much money, dude. I'm trying to think of like what's the price for me personally that I would have fun opening it, and it's like $200 or $150. Where it's like, because if I spend $200 on like an evening with my family, where we go out to eat, we go to a movie, we do something else, we go see some Christmas event thing, it would be like $200. Parking, $200. So it's like 5 nights with my family for one box in like 15 minutes. It's like, it just seems like it's too much.
Totally. And it's like, who can buy a case of this stuff?
How many boxes are in a case?
12.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, these are available direct for sale on Panini's website, and like you can buy 12 of them at the $950 per box price, and then you get capped at 12, which is hilarious to me. Like, don't buy more than 12 of these $1,000 boxes. And if you buy 12, they get packaged into one case.
So you get them for like $9.
Like, I'm so far in life from being able to buy a case of this product. Who can buy a case of this product?
That's what I'm saying. Well, my point is like you can't, and you're not. Like, I don't even. A lot people that were DMing me were like, I'm not buying. I haven't bought wax in years, and it's like, you aren't buying it. The breakers are buying all of it. Like, no one who is us is buying these.
And so that's a part of this discussion, is that the format of opening the box has changed.
Right.
And so, like, I was chatting with friend Ruben last night, who was, messing with me a little bit. And he was like, yeah, he's like, if I get the McCaffrey finite, I'm never going to sell it to you. And I was like, well, have you been buying into 49ers breaks? And he was like, yeah. And he said 3-box breaks. So, like, there's 3 boxes total in break. The 49ers cost like $90. And I could see myself throwing like $90 on a break when I know that I'm just looking for 49ers in particular one. So when the price gets fractionalized, it starts to be reduced to digestible portions.
Because you could get the Niners at cost for if you bought a box yourself. So it's like what, $90 to a 950. So you get 10x and you get 30x.
Yeah. So I guess I could buy in the 49er spot in 30 boxes, which is really the one spot I'm looking for anyway.
So you get 30x the value if you only care about the Niners.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. So like, what do you think about that? I mean, that's the mode in which boxes are being opened now.
Yeah, it makes sense. I get it.
Yeah. Okay. I just jotted down a title here.
And it's like, I'm arguing against like supply and demand and capitalism. You can't fight it. I can't fight what the secondary market prices are. That's not how it works,
Right. Yeah. But what we can do is just sort of share our displacement, our anxiety as people who have collected cards for a long time and who just feel like something's happening here that has completely taken away the personal box opening experience least for products like Prism and up.
Yeah.
So, okay. Then there was part 2, which is collectors being priced out as these cards come out of boxes and get absorbed, usually by dealers and flippers, and then resold.
Well, let me give you a scenario that happened to me for real. I won't give the card, but I'll tell you the scenario. There's a card that I wanted that went up for auction, and I was the high bidder with like 2 seconds left at $2,000. So I was like mentally prepared to win this card for $2,000. I got outbid last second. And then it was obvious to me that me and one other person were going back and forth, bidding each other up to try to win this item. And I went all the way up to $5,000 and I lost. And I was furious. I like went to bed, put in my last bid at 5. I was like, I'm going to win. This has to be enough. I'll just go to bed. Woke up and I lost. Then that exact same card was on eBay for $10,000 the next morning. The winner didn't even he didn't even have the card yet. Already on eBay, $10,000, not even OBO. He wants 2x from what he paid. And I thought to myself, if I would have just not bid at all and just sat out, he would have won it for $2,000. He would have put it on eBay for 5, and I would have hit the bin, and I would have had the same result as if I had won at the 5. It just doesn't make any sense. I'm literally just bidding against myself to buy it for myself. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, and now it's going to just rot on eBay.
No, it's a great rant, and it's it's very frustrating.
But nothing I can do.
Nope. There is nothing we can do. But yeah, I don't know. That's just to get it off our chest, I guess.
We just have to like be collectors and eat shit and pay money.
Yeah. Yep.
In the chat, Ragnar Card says, props to you for costing that guy $3,000. Don't touch it. Just make him. And then it does the stupid eBay thing where, he's in his seller account and it gives him the option to like spray the offer out to everybody who's looked at it. So I get the offer that's like, hey, you could buy it for $9,500. Oh, wow, thanks.
What about this? Pax That Slap says, play the long game, which you're good at. Yeah.
Yeah, just wait for him to give up and auction it 3 years from now, and then I'll get it for the price. I'd rather be a petty fucker.
Okay, I have another title to write down. All right.
People are already figuring out the bar. Has that happened to you, or like that frustration with McCaffrey or anybody?
Oh yeah. I see it happen too, and it angers me just as much when it's not even happening to me, but I just see it happening. Period. I'm trying to think if I've had any like recent examples of it. Nothing comes to mind. All right. Great rant. I love both those topics, and like those are really real topics that the industry is going to have to reckon with, because at a certain point, it's just not fun anymore.
Well, this is similar to the NBA ratings. Like, I can sit here and whine about it and give these examples, but like, what does it matter? The hobby keeps going up and the prices go up, and what does it matter? Like, it doesn't affect anyone else,
Yeah. Not to commit the slippery slope fallacy, but I think it can reach a tipping point, though, where nobody's having fun anymore. Suddenly, there can just be this collective realization of like, what are we doing? The point of this is to have fun, and we're not having fun. So why are we doing this?
Yeah, there's just because there is like the gambling layer. It seems to me like that is pretty sustainable, because it seems to work for sports. Like, people lose more and more money. These corporations and casinos take more and more margin over and over through fees and all these different tricky ways to capture more of the money, and we still keep coming back to gamble as a society. So what do I know?
We do, but I think the sports betting stuff can reach a tipping point too. You know, maybe not in the first 2 or 3 or 4 years, but like by year 9 or 10, and people are like, "Yeah, I've lost $500 a year doing this. Maybe it's time to stop."
But there's not a person who like I guess like there's probably professional gamblers who are profiting off of like everybody else being involved and they're loving it, so they want to just keep going, similar to like the flippers here. I don't know.
Tell Josh to start paying attention to the show because
Josh?
I just got a notification that he's answering customers like while he's talking.
That's good. He's multitasking.
Always.
Even in the middle of a podcast show.
Even in the middle of a rant.
Stop. Yeah.
That's impressive. Okay.
You can see the reflection of my eyeballs or something?
No, like I got the notification on my phone that came down on the screen. Yeah.
It's hard to hide from Christina, trust me.
Yeah, I've tried.
Josh needs a raise. All right. From Roundtree 13 Cards. Oh, speaking of gambling, let's play roulette. Pick a number between 1 and 36. And I asked Roundtree, like, why? And he said he's in Vegas and he needs a number.
Oh. 6.
Okay, yes. That is not surprising at all. That is your favorite number. All right, here you go, buddy. I only do this for special situations. 6! Okay, you got to pick 6.
That's crazy.
Random number generator said 6. Josh said 6. Let us know how it works, and we will be grateful for any donations from your winnings.
Well, he's going to lose, and then we're going to owe him, so.
Yeah. Maybe that. I need to jot down 6, I guess. And yeah, just send us the invoice when you lose. Thank you.
That's going to be funny when that's the caption of the show. 6. 6?
All right. 217 Card Snob says, please discuss Prism bounties.
I need more.
I need more too. There was just 4, and I should have followed up with him, but I didn't. I think what he's referring to, what I'm going to take this question as, is there are plenty of accounts on Instagram and across social media who are saying, sell me your high-end Prism. I have a bounty of this much for this card, this much for this card. I've seen like way more of that this cycle than ever before.
Have you seen any bounties for Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels?
No.
Because those were the big... Didn't the Caleb Williams finite get pulled?
It did.
I think I saw a picture of that. Is that the second best card right now because of Jaden Daniels, or is it still the first best?
Yeah. I think that card is definitely beneath the Jaden Daniels.
Interesting.
From my point of view.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the cropped picture of the Caleb Black finite. So it is out there. Okay, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then the Daniels Black Shimmer showed up, which looks really good. I just think his card just pops this year. So that's the Shimmer of Jaden.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, have nots that the person who pulled that one made a tweet that said that yes, this will be for sale.
Shocking. I saw the Malik Neighbors get sold for a big number.
What did that go for?
I don't know that the person wanted to disclose it. It wasn't a public sale, but I know it was a lot. You know, like a veteran Hall of Fame wide receiver price.
Got it. There was a moment there where Malik Neighbors was the highest PPR per game fantasy wide receiver of all time, but I think that is corrected.
I think he finished. Oh shoot! Okay, he's currently 8th for most receptions by a rookie ever, and the leader is Puka and Jalen Waddle, 105, 104 receptions.
Nice.
Yes, and Neighbors has 90 this year with only 12 games played, and Puka had 17 and Waddle had 16. So he's on pace to actually beat it.
Waddle, you say?
Jalen Waddle.
I happen to know because I was looking at something that brought me to this earlier this week that Waddle Prism Black Finite 1 of 1 from his rookie year is on eBay right now.
Oh, yeah.
PSA
I've stared at it many a time.
20K OBM.
He's not good enough for that price, but it's a cool card.
All right. Anything else? Commentary on Prism Bounties? I can't complain about it. It's making it more competitive to get to the best cards, but I think we expected that this was always going to happen, and I think it's just going to get even more competitive and more competitive.
Didn't you do a bounty for some of the McCaffrey stuff, or did you say that you're looking, like you posted you're looking for it? You didn't put a price on it though, right?
I did not put a price on this year's McCaffrey Black Finite because I have a hunch that if I put a price on it, a flipper's gonna,
it's a floor.
Take advantage of me. Yeah. So I intentionally didn't, but anybody who's ever connected me to a McCaffrey Finite before can testify to the fact that I'm very generous with finder's fees.
Yes, you are.
So I hope that produces the card. But I've been putting bounties on Prism Blacks for 3 or 4 years now.
And it's worked. You've gotten all of them.
It has worked pretty well.
Yeah, I think we were talking in the group chat, maybe some other chats between you and I about how if you're going to collect and try to get the best cards of a modern player, this is the way to do it. You have to be very, very aggressive right at release of product. It's really the best strategy, and you got to way overpay.
It is, and it's easy when a product comes out, like all these cool cards are surfacing, you'd be like, it'll always be this flood of grails, and it just doesn't work that way. It usually does not work that way at all. So it is advantageous to be the first mover, but there's also a premium with that. So you have to.
If you aren't getting on it right away, I feel like you got to wait like a long time because it's got to go through the vortex, and it's got to go through the dips, and it's got to go through the re-auctions, and it's like.
And it can get stuck at any point. Like the vortex doesn't always spin. Sometimes cards get stuck in that vortex for years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
Because you have a stubborn vortex operator.
I saved a card from a vortex this week.
Nice. Okay.
Do you think that the football community gets a bad rap for not being collectors, or what's your take on that? I know you've seen that narrative.
The narrative of nobody collects football cards?
Maybe not like that extreme of a sentence, but like that it's more of a flipper's paradise than basketball.
Or like a gambler's paradise.
Right, because of the quarterbacks and,
I think there's merit to it.
Yeah.
You?
Somewhere in between. I think it is more gambling than basketball, but I still feel like I've met a lot of people who are like really diehard collectors in the football space.
Yeah, and it's not hard to. I mean, you can throw a stone and hit a football collector at the National from wherever you're standing. Like football collectors, they're a little quieter, possibly, and they collect in more obscure fashions. They love making rainbows, or they did until the rainbows became 50 parallels.
Yeah.
They just collect a little bit differently. They collect a little more quietly. They collect with more of a team focus. So they there's not like a central gathering point of certain players.
Yeah.
For football necessarily. It's like the 49ers collectors over here, the Bears collectors over here.
It's definitely a team. I've seen a lot of like Steelers collectors, for example.
Yes. And then when you do start going into those rabbit holes, you do realize how deep they run.
Yeah.
Like a player who's been a topic for a week now, and then there's another question if we get to it later, is Barry Sanders. Barry, go to your Instagram someday and just type in, Barry Sanders in the search and look at how many accounts that are literally called Barry Sanders Collector autofill. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yes. He's a very popular player to collect. I've seen a lot of Steelers collectors. I don't know if that's just because of I'm trying to get Antonio Brown cards, or I just feel like I've seen a lot of them. And then I've seen a lot of Dolphins collectors. I've seen Ravens. Like, it's a lot of team. You're right.
Yeah.
I found a Fred Taylor super collector today. I was like, geez, I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah, like one of the collectors who does a nice job of putting out content so that it gives me more to consume on Instagram, which I appreciate, is a Joe Flacco collector.
I was hoping you were going to mention him. Yes.
That's awesome.
It's amazing. Because it's like I can now see all of Joe Flacco's best cards in one place.
Yeah. I don't think he's gambling on, trying to see a 30% spike real quick in Joe Flacco cards.
Well, let's give him some pub. How would you say that? The C Dice cards? Is that right?
Yeah. Sounds right.
Because it's probably his name, Chris Dicia. Hope I'm saying that
right.
But he's a Ravens collector. He's got Ray Lewis. He's got other players, but Joe, he's mostly known for Joe. He's got a lot of Anquan Bolden. Look at this Anquan Bolden right here. A lot of Joe Flacco. I think he has like 4 or 5 of his black finites, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he might even have what he calls a 6-pack of them.
He's got the 2012 Anquan Bolden black. He's got Terrell Suggs 2012. Oh, here they are. So there's a 2012 gold. Here's a 2018 black finite, 2017 black finite, 2013 black finite right here, 2014 black finite. Awesome. He's got Ravens, Gem Master 101s. I love pages like this. It's just like, wow, this guy's been clearly doing this for a while.
Exactly. Very, very cool page. Cool collection. All right. Let's move on here. From Cardboard Negative Collector, what are your thoughts on the WNBA market moving forward?
For cards?
Yeah.
Like
So
we just talk about Caitlin Clark, or are we trying to talk about the whole league?
I think this question is definitely more like the backdrop of this question is sort of like, well, we have Caitlin Clark, who just had a $250,000 sticker autograph sell.
Insert.
Or, right? It was
right.
As well from Select. What happens next? Where does the WNBA market go from here?
It feels a little hot, a little spicy, and it might correct a bit. But I mean, Caitlin Clark's a rookie. She's here to stay, man. She's not going anywhere.
No, she's just getting started. Although, I think the long winter of the WNBA offseason will prove to be a bit of an obstacle to keep momentum from year to year.
Okay.
I just think about that. Also, I mean, I've been looking for WNBA cards, so that's something.
Let's go.
There's an Asia Wilson Concourse Gold Vinyl 1 of 1. There are 2 1 of 1 parallels to the Select base set from the inaugural WNBA base.
Cheap.
Yeah, this is $7,000 with no best offer.
Oof.
I mean, that's more than twice what I would pay for a Select 1 of 1 Concourse from any of my current PC players.
Yeah, and I'm not a genius about WNBA, but I would imagine that would be quite a bit cheaper than the NBA counterpart.
I'm saying it's more.
You think it's worth more than the Jokic?
Oh, no. The opposite. Yeah. No, I think that, I mean, this is nowhere near a rookie card for Asia. It is the first WNBA instance of Select, but I was on sales history on Card Ladder looking up other Asia Wilson 1 of 1 sales, and her 2023 Prism Gold Vinyl 1 of 1, I believe there were 2 1 of 1s to that base set as well, sold for $1,500 a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So that's not the first year of Prism, but it's Prism versus one of 3 tiers of Select.
Right.
So, if this card were $2,500 OBO and I could throw a $1,500 offer at it, and maybe they could drag me up to $1,750 or $2K. but $7K with no offer is frothy.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
It's like you collect Michael Thomas now.
Yeah. So I wouldn't mind having the WNBA to follow in the summers. And I'd like to collect it on some level, but it's just hard to make sense of this market. That's kind of where I'm at on it.
Do you think that Caitlin Clark will need to compete for championships to keep interest up, both in the league and in the hobby?
Interesting question. I think that there's 3 levels to this. She can be not competing for championships, she can be competing for championships, and she can be winning championships. So I just made like a thumbs up graphic appear, by the way. Okay.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Good job, Zuck. You can't get audio worked out, but you can put thumbs over our faces. Thanks.
I wasn't sure if anybody else could see that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I think Clark needs to win championships, personally. Yeah. That's how high the bar is.
Is she the face of the league?
Yes.
One of my favorite subplots of the season is how everyone that built up Ant Edwards to be like, if he doesn't make it, guys, we're screwed. And now he's like really struggling without Kat and the lead man. He's like, and they're just sort of like ignoring it, not pretending like it's not happening. Like, yeah, he's still too young. It's, it's fine.
Or like when the Thunder had to deal with a playoff whistle in the Cup championship game, and the Bucks stomped them, which is just one game. And Bill not only tweeted but also said on his podcast, "Well, what do you expect from a bunch of young guys in Vegas for 5 days?" And Zach Lowe is like, "Well, the Thunder just missed all their threes." Yeah, wasn't that your excuse for when they lost to Dallas too? Like, anyway, all right.
That game didn't even count towards their win-loss, so they still have a 7-game win streak.
Yes, that game did not count towards win and loss, and it doesn't count towards the regular season at all. But apparently, it made a big MVP statement for Giannis.
Well, Giannis, they didn't even pop the champagne. They're like, "Fuck this game, we don't care."
Yeah, I was listening to the Hoop Collective, and Tim McMahon was like, "Yeah, I changed my MVP vote in the straw poll after the championship game." Dude, that game doesn't count towards the regular season. How could you base a regular season MVP vote on isn't in the regular season?
That's illegal, sir.
I was just gonna say that Giannis cared because remember, during the trophy ceremony, he made sure that he grabbed it first. He was the one who raised it, and then while he was waiting for the MVP to be announced, he was pacing back and forth in front of the rest of the team. Come on, just tell me that I'm the winner. It was so awkward. The guy is so fucking egotistical.
Cup thoughts? Did you enjoy the Cup?
That finals game was not easy on the eyes.
Nonetheless, I agree with that.
The semifinal games were entertaining.
Yeah, I still like the Cup. I think it's a cool. It's not a big deal, but it's a cool thing that people compete for that makes the first third of the season interesting.
I enjoy the quarterfinals the best. It's at home court, so it kind of has a semi-playoff feel. It's in home arenas, and we get a little bit of excitement. I enjoy the quarterfinals, and we get more games. It's the first round of the NBA playoffs. I just like it.
Agreed. Okay, so any final thoughts on where you see the WNBA market going forward?
Nah.
Yeah, I'm going to add this just to balance out my contributions from earlier to this discussion. I do think that the WNBA is a very exciting card market to be a part of. You're getting inaugural releases of nice products like Select this year. Clark is as much of a lightning rod as she ever was, and she's very popular. And dude, if they can suck the oxygen out of the room during the summer and sort of like dominate that run of months of sports discourse, like it could be very culturally relevant.
Well, I think the entire WNBA should be the Woman of the Year, not just Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, they should have put the whole league on that cover.
That's bullshit. No one cared about them before Caitlin Clark came in. And I know you're being sarcastic, but the people who are listening to this might not know. And I just want the record to state, Caitlin Clark has made the WNBA relevant. Fight me. My DMs are open.
Big facts.
All right. From Simply Cards 2014, the availability of funding services has propelled us into the consolidation era. Consolidation seems to have always existed in the hobby, but funding allows us to go bigger. However, there are more and more cases of collectors consolidating up and then not wanting to hold the card that they've consolidated into for the long term, consolidating into a financial level that they may not be comfortable in, perhaps. Is the resulting trail of sales history problematic in the long term?
That's a lot. What do you think?
I hadn't heard. When I first started reading this question when it came in, I thought this question was going to veer in the direction of there's a lot of consolidating going on right now, and it's sort of overlooking how many great cards there are and how nice it is to have a bigger collection or a medium-sized collection rather than a collection that's verging towards just one card.
Yep.
And all the fun that comes with curating and the enjoyment that comes from piecing together something that can be greater than the sum of its parts. I thought that's the direction that this question was going in, and if it did go in that direction, I was prepared to say that there's merit to this point of view, and it's a good point of view to sort of balance out the tendency that people like you and I think, have, and other collectors have too, which is like we just want to compress everything into like the monster, the mother of all cards.
Right.
So I was prepared to say that, but the question went in a different direction. And it took like a turn or it didn't get off on the exit I was expecting to. Instead, the question drove to this new destination, which is, let's think about the consequences of over-consolidation, which is you're going to get people who are consolidating because that's a trend or that's things that people that they look up to are doing. And then they actually never wanted to consolidate.
Yeah.
They're going to end up recording 2 transactions of an important card simultaneously, and maybe even more if like multiple people try to consolidate it and have the same reckoning. So if that happens, what's the fallout? What's the wreckage from this? Is it anything to be worried about?
Right. Yeah, I always get worried about the big one of ones and the cards that everyone's consolidating into continuously selling over and over. So I can totally understand that point of view. I get that.
Yeah. Yep, I get that too.
I've always felt like that was an underrated aspect of the health of the market. The pricing is just how frequently some of these really big ones just, you keep seeing that card over and over. It really sort of like, it brings the value down to me.
Yeah, and it happens without the consolidation piece as well.
Right.
Like it already is happening. Sort of, we were talking a little bit before about sort of the gambling that happens at the high end on quarterback prospects, and there's like a Justin Herbert Shield card that's sold 3 times. It's like a insert Shield autograph from his rookie year at Immaculate that sold like 3 times and like went for like 130,000. Then went for like 30,000, and then it went for like 12,000.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ugly.
I don't know if this is on topic with this, but I get frustrated when people consolidate and then they try to like sell the cards they're consolidating away from at like 2x their value. If you're going to consolidate, you're taking the concession that I'm selling these to pay for this other thing, you have to sell those things at market value. Or like what's fair? You have to be reasonable because if people are reaching out to take on your worst cards that you're dumping so you can get something better, you need, god damn, this stupid Instagram. Well, I did quotes and it gave me balloons. It's like the strings of the balloons floating up. Jesus. You know what I'm saying though? Like you have to be reasonable and just sell it at market value, and then because I'm aiding in you doing something else. I don't know. Rant.
You mean to say that I can't just accumulate a ton of cards, overpaying for market prices, and then when I decide I don't want them anymore, I want to buy something else, I can't expect to sell them for even more to the next person?
I don't think so.
Damn. I thought this was going to be easy.
I have this extended Caitlin Clark piece. Can I do it real quick?
Yes.
She did this thing where she knows she should get all the credit, and then the league tried to make her feel guilty about it, and then she like slipped up a bit and like apologized for it, and it's like I'm trying to do the right thing. I think she should have been the same as Brett Favre and been like, fuck all you guys, I'm the face of this league now, get in line, I'm winning the next 4 championships. Just gone full MJ and just that would have been awesome.
Yes, especially because they don't respect her anyway. Like,
might as well.
The rest of the league does not respect her. The rest of the league trashes her in the media, like viciously fouls her on the court. Yep. Like, it's ridiculous. She should have been I agree with you 100%.
This is like something that I used to agree with the other side, and then Chris just taught me over the years. Nope, you just gotta go all the other way. You gotta go all the way in on the other way, and it always works out better.
I'm responsible for this? Nice. Okay. All right. Anything else in the consolidation topic?
Nope.
Next up, KD 35 cards. What are your thoughts on the 2024 Prism design?
I like it.
I like it too.
I saw someone post like comparing it to 2018 and being like, corporate wants you to find the difference between these, and they're the same. I was like, what? They're so different. Right? I thought they were like pretty different. I was like squinting to try to see what was similar.
I also think they took a risk with this design. The risk being that it's so focused on the action shot or the photograph.
Whoa.
It's so focused on it that if it's a great photograph, the card's going to be a home run. But if it's mediocre to not so great photograph, the card's going to suffer a lot. Like, the design has really put all the emphasis on the photograph, which is risky.
Check this shit out.
Nice.
Dude. It went up for auction 2 hours ago, and it's already at $5,000.
9 days to go.
It started 2 hours ago. That's for people in the audio. It's the Brian Thomas Jr. on the Jaguars Black Finite rookie. It's already at $5,000. Sorry, go ahead.
That's a good looking one too.
Yeah. I like it. It kind of looks like 2013 mixed with 2016. I don't know. I'm just making. I don't even know. It looks cool.
Yes. Now there are plenty of people who don't love the new Prism design, and I will say this: without fail, for the duration of time that I've been collecting Prism, which goes back to 2018, people hate the new Prism design every year.
Yeah. They want it to be like completely revolutionary. That's the point of Prism, is that it's consistent and we like it.
Yes. So just, if you're like, man, everybody hates this, like, am I crazy? Just, everybody always hates the new Prism.
This is like this fastball right down the middle card, right? Prism, base, Caleb Williams, #1 pick. This is like what you would judge it by. There's nothing else distracting you.
Yep.
It looks great.
I think they did him a little dirty with the photo.
Because of the empty stadium?
Empty stadium is a factor. And I also find the pose to be cowering a little bit, or he's just like sort of his knees are pressing into each other. It isn't a pose of confidence and boldness.
Well, his nails aren't colored either. It's better than a curtain.
Indeed.
It's better than
It is definitely better than a curd.
Have you seen the guys
I thought Daniels looked great.
This is the only one that bothered me. Yeah, I'll pull up the Daniels next. This is the only one that bothered me is the guys that have this. They got the practice helmets on, so they got them in their training camp photos or whatever, and they're wearing those goofy practice helmets. I think Xavier Worthy has that one.
Those big mushroom helmets? Okay.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy's rookie card has that. Let me pull up Daniels. Oh, and what do you think about this? Or they keep doing this like flashback thing to 10 years prior.
As long as that's an insert, I'm fine with it.
I've seen people on Facebook trying to sell it as the base.
What's the card number on the back? Can you see it?
Yep. 8.
Okay, presumably that's an insert. Yeah, if it's an insert, fine. Knock yourself out, but we don't need base set variations.
People are trying to sell it off as the base on Facebook, telling you.
Well, hopefully we'll get a video from Victor about which of these are true rookie cards and which are not, because I think his guidance is needed.
So there are not variations, right? Are we good on that?
I think there is a variation too. I think there is.
So will there be 2 black finites of every player?
Of at least some. I don't know. I haven't looked at this checklist closely.
I heard people complaining the checklist wasn't out.
It might not be.
Yeah. That's what I heard.
Let's have a look, see if we can find something here. Nothing like doing research live. Rookie variations. All right.
Don't say it.
Oh. Well, this is really interesting just because the rookie variations, according to this checklist from Beckett's, they're numbered differently than the base set.
Good.
That's terrific. So it looks like the cards that are numbered to the base set, the rookies start at 301, which is Caleb. And those have four different one-of-ones. Finite, Shimmer, Nebula, and Black Stars.
Oh, there's a question about Nebula. Do that next. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then it looks like there's something called the rookie variations, which are numbered starting from 1. So Caleb is card number 1 in the variations, and he's 301 in the base set. And the variations look like they have a black finite, and that's the only one-of-one.
There's I hate that there's 2 finite Caleb Williams. People will be confused.
They will be, but as long as it's not numbered to the base set, at least there's that.
What were you saying about flattering photos of Caleb Williams? What was your beef? You're not a fan of the, what are they called? Manga cards? Manga? I don't know what that is.
Manga.
Manga.
I don't know if that's how you say it. I don't know.
Is that like the anime thing?
I will actually judge the remainder of my hobby experience by hopefully never figuring out how to properly pronounce this.
So I can't find a variation of Caleb Williams. Is that because regular hobby isn't out yet and it's just first up the line? Am I just saying stupid things?
Well, no, because I believe that what you showed before was the variation of that other rookie.
I have no idea, Josh, but it's a good question. Oh, and now I need to make sure to remove Mosaic from my...
It's a variation. Or is this the variation? Yes, because Jaden Daniels is number 8, right? And
yeah, what number is that card?
This is number 1, and this is the variation.
There it is.
Perfect.
There you go. Okay, so the variation is the 2014 design.
Are the variations in draft order?
No, Caleb Daniels was the number 2 pick.
Okay.
But there you go. See, I'm okay with it if it's a very clear delineation. Like, this is a flashback. It's a reuse of a design. It's a different number. It's technically a variation, but I have an issue when it's like a photo variation with the same design and like the same number, and it's like ball in left hand is basically the only distinguishing thing in the pop sport.
Completely agreed.
So there's a black finite of that card that exists, but not a nebula in the others. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Good.
There is a black finite 1-of-1 parallel to this insert.
I think, given everything we know about Panini and Select and everything, that's about as good as we could hope for.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And there's still like the emergent black finite and some of these other ones, but whatever.
Yeah. God, it does give me a rush. Just like I'm just looking at all the Caleb Williams new prisms, and like this is not a card that I would put in my PC, but it's like, oh, look at this gold vinyl emergent Caleb out of 5. Like, yeah, the energy surrounding all these cards coming out is great.
I was like really thinking about hitting the bin on this guy, but I don't know.
He doesn't have the muffin head on, but he does.
What's that? It's just like a giant head?
That's Prismania.
My biggest issue with Kaboom is that they're just not real pictures. Like I just can't get there. It's got to be at least a photo of the player.
That's good.
All right, ask about Nebula. I want to do the Nebula one.
Okay, what was the price on that Prismania, by the way?
8,500 OBO. The manga one is 11 grand OBO. Case hit! Exclamation!
That's maybe somebody who bought a case, and
I sorted by price though. I'm an asshole.
Can't figure out where all their money went.
Right. Well, let me filter by auction, and I'll do highest price.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the question about Nebula. Are there any Nebulas out yet, or no? Those probably come from a different configuration of the product that isn't out yet.
See, I think those come from a different, because I think only First Off the Line is out right now, right?
Yeah, and maybe Hobby too.
No, yeah, I think Hobby got released.
Prism Choice Nebula, 1-of-1 Luke Musgrave, 2024. But there's only 2 results, so I think that's a missed listing from last year. So I don't think there's any Nebulas right now.
Yeah, that would make sense.
This looks like 2023 product. Yeah, it is. Nope, so there's no Nebulas out. So it's Prism Choice. That's a different configuration.
Yeah.
I thought I thought Prism Choice, or someone was saying like basketball gets the Nebulas, but football shouldn't, and that's a new thing for football.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Brian is saying that Backyard was breaking choice today, and they hit 10 Nebulas.
In one box.
All right. Let's go. Here's the Nebula question. From Simply Cards 2014. In 2024 Prism Football, where does the Nebula 1-of-1 rank in the hierarchy of parallels? Chris, for Chris, it won't replace the Black Finite in the McCaffrey run. But for Josh, would you pick one up for one of your guys?
I'd have to do more research on how long they've been doing the Nebulas, but probably not.
This is the first Prism Nebula for football.
Then definitely not. There's only going to be 2. Isn't there going to be... Oh, this is the last one.
No.
There'll be one more after this for football.
Well, 2? That's not enough for me. No, I wouldn't do it. Because then it's like I can only do it for this year's rookie class and next year's? Nah.
Nice.
What do you think?
Yeah, I had to make a similar decision. I guess it was 2 seasons ago when they expanded the Prism base at 1-of-1s from being just the Black Finite to including the Black Stars and the Black Shimmer.
Yeah.
And I decided at that point that I'm not going to do all of them. I'm just going to stick to the Black Finite.
But you've grabbed a couple of Shimmers and Nebulas of Jokic just sort of out of enjoyment, right?
I have. Yes, I have, but they don't have as sticky of a place in my collection, I'll just say.
Yeah, it's almost like you were just wanting to get a pickup.
Yeah, exactly. And they're great cards, but...
Would you rather have the gold Prism base than the Choice Nebula?
No.
I think I'm with you there. It's crazy. It's like probably my second choice. I'd probably have the Black Shimmer.
Well, I can tell you definitively. So, like, I'll give you an example. A buddy of mine, Adam, from Florida, notified me that he was at a show and somebody had the Purdy Prism Black Shimmer rookie, and I have the Purdy Prism Gold PSA 10 rookie, which is Pop 2.
Make a trade.
And I immediately went right to the guy and I was like, hey, dude, you want to trade? Because I would gladly trade the Prism Gold for the Shimmer. And he said no.
Yeah, you've definitely got me on this like one of one thought process, and I'm down in the rabbit hole of like, man, it's really a one of one. It's crazy. It's just like I just feel like that Panini is going to go down as like the one of one era and not the Gold Prism era. Everyone wants to make it seem like Panini is going to be remembered for Gold Prism. I think it's going to be remembered for the one of one. I think they did a nice job because I think that they got a little bit off the beaten path. They got a little bit off course with like the shimmers and the select having so many one of ones, but overall I think they did a nice job.
I'm with you. I'm obviously with you. Although of two of my PC players, I have their Prism Gold rookie, and I love the card. But I am with you completely. But I like not a rebuttal, but something to think about. I was listening to Auction Talk, and Brett, I think, made the observation, or maybe it was Nick. I think it was Brett, that Prism Golds, there are 10. They are attainable right now. In 10 years, will you be able to get a Prism Gold of anybody?
Yeah, it's like the PMG green argument, maybe.
Yeah.
And you remember I used to bring up this point back when I didn't collect one of ones and I was biased. It was like the idea that if you have a one of one, you're the only one that can own it, and it kind of reduces some of the excitement if like you're the only one that can own this card. And if there's 10 or 25 or whatever, then it's like this community driven excitement, we own this card together kind of thing. So I kind of can still see that side of it.
Yeah, and you know what? If you own a few golds and a few blacks and a few nebulas, not such a bad life.
Right. Yeah, we're splitting hairs.
Now, Eddie in the chat makes a distinction because I sort of lumped in the nebula with the shimmers, and he's like, no. He says gold prism over shimmer, nebula over gold prism. And so, like, nebula has a cachet for sure.
A fan base.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, I had somebody message me, a Rui Hachimura collector messaged me 2 days or yesterday to say this. You really should add some nebulas. I'm clearly biased, but now I think the branding of Nebula will sustain. People will remember the Panini era for parallels, and the Nebula is the most Panini distinct because the gold vinyl is a superfractor and blacks were higher serial counts and existed pre-Panini. Most collectors I've asked don't deny that it is the most striking eye appeal in hand as well. Since Nebula started later, there's a very small supply. He goes on a bit. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to diminish the other sick one of ones. I just think Nebula is being slept on, especially Spectra, which is the original hub of Nebulas, and Mosaic. Prism and Optic are already higher, but also have room to run, I think. Lastly, please keep up the collector content. Okay, so this guy's a collector. He's really excited.
Yeah.
I have one Nebula. Do you have any Nebulas?
No, but I can feel the passion and genuine passion from the question, and I get it. I've heard similar things from a lot of people. I get it.
Yeah,
they're cool. They are cool looking, like the space theme, and they're cool. They're for sure awesome, and they're always 101, right? Or maybe the early Spectres are at a 2, or Mosaic are at a 2, maybe. But I think they're always
2, I believe.
Yeah,
not
they're mostly 101s.
The footballs weren't. Oh, yeah. Basketball was.
Basketball was.
They're cool cards. I get it, and I know people that collect like sets of them. Like they've got a bunch from 1 year and a bunch of common players and stuff. So I know they're popular. What's the one you have? Let me pull it up. Actually, you can keep going.
It's Jokic Optic Nebula, which I got at the National, this most recent National.
I guess one of my issues is that they're like across multiple products now. It's a little bit confusing to me.
It is, yeah. So nebulas can be found at least in Spectra, Prism, Optic. That's it?
Okay. But they started with Spectra, then they added it to Mosaic, then they added it to Optic, now they're adding it to Prism?
No.
Is that
well, for basketball it was Spectra, then Prism, then Optic.
Yep.
But that part is a little confusing to me.
Yeah.
Because Optic 1 of 1 has the vinyl basketball has the black Prism. Mosaic has the Nebula, and now they all have black, and I don't know. That part's annoying.
Yeah. I think you're going somewhere helpful with that line of thought, because sort of if you had to identify the signature one of one from each product, Prism is the black or the black finites, Optic is the gold vinyl, Spectra is the Nebula, it may be Mosaic. I mean, the early Mosaic, not standalone basketball release, had a black, and I don't think it had a Mosaic. Mosaic, I don't know. Maybe it's Nebula too, but.
And Select is the black X-Fractor or the black?
Select is for the field level court side, it's the X-Fractor black, otherwise true black. Well, I guess it's three, right? So for Select Concourse, it's the true black. For Select Premier level, it's the die cut black. And for Select courtside and field level, it's the X-Fractor
When
black.
Optic had the gold vinyl, I liked it. Then they added the Optic Black 101, which like conflated it with basketball Black 101, and now they have the Nebula. I don't know. It's confusing.
Wouldn't it probably have been better if they didn't use the same parallel in different products, but instead, like, basketball can get the black and maybe, a purple or something if they need to add more, and Optic can get the gold vinyl, and if they need to add more, Spectra can get the Nebula. But overlapping the parallels to different products is a little weird.
The way that I think about it, and this may be wrong, but it's just sort of like 1,000-foot view. I'm sort of a noob to the one-on-one world. This is how I think about it. I look at I try to pick the top one-of-one parallel based on the product, based on the one that they had running the longest from the beginning. So like for football, the black finite goes back to 2012, and they've kept it. So it's like, this is easy. I know Optic has the 2016 Optic Gold Vinyl 101, and they've kept it. So it's just, for me, it's like, if I want to collect my favorite players from this era, it's easy to try to like get my favorite Antonio Brown Optic Vinyl, get my favorite Todd Gurley Optic Vinyl, and I can sort of like keep that consistency. Whereas like I have to make up these rules of like, oh, if I collect this player, it would be his Optic Vinyl, but if it's this guy, I need both. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, it makes a ton of sense. And then when you brought up that, with Football Prism going back to 2012, you know what they had in 2012? They had the black finite in the pylon. Great. How come that couldn't be there? Like, just, this is the unique, quirky, other parallel one-of-one from Prism, and let's just have that.
Yeah, do you think that having multiple one-on-ones was because they're like, you know what, dude, this is like, we're just like modern collectors now, look at us go. It's because they're like, you know what, these breakers need more one-on-ones. Like, we need more one-on-one hits. Like, we got to throw in the net. People love the Nebulas, and the breakers need more of those big hit videos to drive the product, and that's why we have it.
Yes. And there's a question on this that I'm going to connect from Ragnar Cards, who said, every year collectors complain about a new one-of-one. Guilty. Yet there are always more. How many years until we look back and think, damn, I miss back in 2024 when there were just a few one-of-ones?
Well, Panini's ending this license, dude. I just feel like people aren't quite grasping that yet, that like we are going to have a finite number of one-of-ones, and it's going to end. We're going to have this. You and me are going to be able to sit down and like write down the checklist of Prism one-on-ones out of the Panini era, and we can wrap our arms around it and be like, they didn't go too far because they stopped right here, and there's only 3,
I know. And I think the glass is half full here compared to what it could be. In Luber's white paper that he wrote a few years ago, in one of the later portions of it, he sort of has a thought experiment where he discusses like a continuum of how rare you can make cards. And like, on the one hand, you can have 10,000 indistinguishable base copies of a card, and on the other hand, you could have 10,000 unique one-of-ones of the same card, or you can sort of land somewhere in the middle, and maybe you have 3 one-of-ones and an out of 10 and an out of 100, and then maybe a few thousand indistinguishable base copies. I mean, what if there was a world where just every card was a 1 of 1? And in his points, and I think most people would observe that would ruin whatever it is that makes the 1 of 1 attractive.
So where does it end for you? Because we're at like 4 right now. We got the stars, so is 4 too much? Like, where do you start to feel 10,000 is obviously way too much?
If I had my druthers, there would only be 1 of 1 to every base set.
So, but I mean, you're still buying them. So I'm saying, what's the point of like, I don't fuck this product, I'm out?
Yeah. Well, I have to respect the judgment of the manufacturer to gauge the demand in the markets, and it's not the worst thing in the world if there are multiple 1 of 1s, if there's even 3 or 4 or 5 1 of 1s, because hopefully that makes them cheaper, and hopefully it makes the one that I'm after cheaper. So it's not the worst thing in the world. But if it ever got to the point where there were more 1 of 1s to a base set parallel than there are true golds out of 10,
yeah.
I would start getting turned off a bit at that point. And Select has gotten close.
Yeah, I like this. Pick a number. 10 that makes sense to me. That makes
I would say 10 is certainly too many.
Yep.
And 7 is where I start to swallow real hard when I am thinking about buying a card that has 7 1 of 1s when I look at the checklist. And then I really have to do what you were talking about, which is like identify what the legacy, the true 1 of 1 is. Like, this is what I do when I look at Select. Like, I want the true black. I want the true black die cut. I want the true black.
I have a counter. If you can, when you're rounding the number, if it ends up going up to 10, it's too much.
Nice.
So 5 is too much. 4 or below, and that is still acceptable. It should be a true 1 of 1, but like under 4 or below is good. Oh, there you go.
Damn it, I haven't been able to get it back.
I think you gotta do one thumb and you gotta kind of like get it. There you go. AI.
What is this?
AI is so shitty that you have to like be right in the center and you gotta like have it perfectly aligned. Yeah, I like that. Rounding up, that makes sense.
Yeah. I like that too.
You're welcome.
Good.
One more thing about remember that question we got, like, why do we do this show?
Yes.
I feel like we owe it to ourselves and the rest of the hobby to take a strong stance on behalf of the collector, the person whose desire is to end up with the card and not the money. Because it's just like a lot of the content I see is based around and that's not, there's lots of collector content, but we want to add to that pile.
Agreed.
I think I also want to add to this because I didn't get to answer Ankesh's question. It's a great way for the three of us who come at the hobby in very different ways to discuss and like either like come to a consensus or establish the thought pattern of those differing points of view in a public forum that otherwise does not exist.
Okay, so we're wrapping up here. Christina, though, you did ask if you could be reminded to tell the story of what happened at your local shipping shop and what the owner said about FedEx versus UPS.
Oh.
Okay, so I had to ship some presents out to Connecticut. Spoiler. None of my family's watching. It's fine. And I was talking to the guy who runs. It's called the Pack and Ship place, store, and he contracts out, like he's a pickup spot for FedEx and UPS. And he said that if he could have taken a picture on Friday of the back of one of these companies' trucks, he would then never have to tell another customer why he prefers one over the other. He said that boxes were ripped open, like everything was a mess. Like stuff that was in the boxes was just on the floor, like what was obvious, like part of packaging. And when he asked the guy what was going on back there, the driver said well, they used tape to secure the boxes. And the owner was like, everyone uses tape to secure boxes. That's like what you do. So if you would like to guess which company he was talking about, I can confirm it for you.
Well, one of them's not a company, right? It's a...
No, UPS.
Oh, UPS. I thought you said USPS.
No, UPS.
Oh my gosh. I'm scared to know the answer because I feel like I'm biased. I don't want to be wrong and then reroute all of my driving. FedEx is further from my house than UPS, and I use FedEx.
Which one is closer to Chipotle?
There's a UPS like right next to Chipotle, like really close to my house. The FedEx is like a 5x distance.
That's a very strong endorsement of FedEx.
I know. Am I wrong?
The company that this guy was talking about having a horrible inside truck was FedEx.
Oh.
Yeah. Because like we were talking and he was like, look, UPS is going to be more expensive, but they have a guarantee that it'll get there before Christmas. And honestly, I trust them more. And then he didn't even tell me that story. Like he was just like, I trust them more. So I was like, okay, let's go with them. And then another customer came in who's like a regular. And I only go there like once every quarter maybe. And the guy like made some kind of joke about about that company, and then the owner then told this story. Yeah. So just to be forewarned, like not saying this is obviously just anecdotal of one guy's instance with the back of a FedEx truck, but take it how you want.
I'll add some flavor to this myself. I've been to this package ship a few times, and they hate FedEx there. Don't know why, but they've always pushed me to do UPS, and a few times I've been like, nah, I want FedEx.
Maybe they get a better take from UPS.
That could be it too.
And he's like, I could show you those pictures. I can't, but if I did.
Let me just go to Grok and type in.
It's all like clearly like it looks like it's freaking Pixar animated photo.
Okay. That's going to do
Pizza Planet truck instead of a FedEx truck.
Yeah.
For this 90-minute attempt at the crossover. How'd you like that time?
Good.
The 90 minutes. Yeah, I liked it too. Okay.
Get more sleep tonight.
Yes. All right, let's pick a title quickly. Some of the options we have are Lightning Round.
6.
Yeah. Yep. 6. Not a bad one. I can't relate to Shaq.
It's true.
Reduced to digestible portions. Bidding against myself to buy it for myself.
That doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense. What kind of idiot would say that?
I'd rather be a petty fucker.
That one gets my vote.
That's just like a nice way to live your life in general.
These are titles, not life mantras, Christina.
Oh, damn.
The vortex doesn't always spin. Just a thumbs up emoji because we've had more thumbs up on this show than ever.
I don't hate the thumbs up.
You don't hate the thumbs up?
You don't hate it?
The two most popular choices so far, I think, are both one character, either a thumbs up emoji or the number 6.
Which I think there's a 6 emoji.
Okay. Then we have better than a curtain. And we have the one of one era. I vote 6.
Oh, really?
I do.
That's so mean to Nick.
Why is that?
You're just gonna put a big 6 over our faces?
Okay. Okay. So I see what you're saying. So you're thinking about the thumbnail and the graphics.
Yeah, I like to give him a little creativity runway.
That's very smart. Okay, so you're saying maybe we do the thumbs up emoji. He can go crazy with that.
Nick's is pretty epic. Like, we won't have a chance to... one of my college roommate and I, we used to always joke, man, what if you just named your kid like 4? Just freaking do it. You know, you only get one shot at it. Just go for it.
So are we back on 6 then?
You only get one shot. That's true. A child is only named once.
I'm
Well,
advocating
that's not true.
for.
Not anymore.
Do you want to know who? Remember, I said the most receptions in a rookie year. This is crazy. Number 5, most receptions in a rookie year. Number 5, Saquon Barkley, running back. 91 receptions his rookie year. That's crazy.
Who's number 6?
Odell Beckham.
Okay. Well,
I don't care. I'm good with any of those titles.
okay. I'm gonna let the chat be the tiebreaker, and I saw a lot of love for 6.
Do the 6 and then the 6 emoji.
And the 6 emoji, or only the 6 emoji, or only the. I think maybe just the plain old 6 character might be it.
That might be the winner.
No, just the number 6.
Because you did hit it on the random generator. It was a 1 in 36 that we even did. That.
Yeah. Yep.
Also, I wanted to give some screen time to Brett Favre and the unconstitutional theft of Social Security.
Would you like to have the floor?
No, that was it. It got passed over last week, and
Okay.
I thought it deserved more light.
Oh yeah, yes.
Because Christina was like, he's in trouble for stealing from Social Security, and I was like, well, it's actually unconstitutional, so he did the right thing.
So in the long run, when they're looking back on this in 5,000 years,
Right, exactly.
Brett Favre his name will be cleared. He'll be a hero, actually.
He's the one who refused to participate in the Ponzi scheme.
Yes,
Exactly. He'll be like some like Greek, legend that like today people like, but they didn't back then because he tried to overthrow everybody or something like that.
He'll be the Socrates of our era.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know about that.
The gadfly on the elephant's ass. All right.
Then they're gonna find his Levi commercials and be like, actually, we were right the first time.
All right, that's gonna do it for this week. See you guys another time.
CY Card Ladder is the most respected sports card analytics app on the market. We have virtually every card in our system. If the card you are looking for ever sold on one of these platforms, you can find it using Card Ladder's sales history. Easily find recent comps and get a better estimate what your cards are worth. CY Card Ladder is the most trusted and the most reliable sports card analytics app on the market. We know what you want, because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors. Join the innovators, not the imitators. Card Ladder, constantly innovating. Try it for free. CY Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data. Card Ladder, we're just getting started.